Welcome to Case Study 3. As health and physical education teachers, we need to aim to address sedentary behaviour, health illiteracy, mortality and morbidity rates for our students and lifestyle diseases. With only 40% of Australians meeting the recommended guidelines of 30 minutes a day exercise, we as health professionals need to aim to change this phenomenon. Historically, teachers have been accused of presenting one-dimensional learning to students, where the transfer of knowledge is from the teacher and presented to the student as the receiver. Freire describes this as a notion of a banking model where students are depositories for information and teachers are the depositors. So what's the problem, you might ask? Students over time have become desensitised to this notion of learning in the same way that Pavlov's dogs, which were once conditioned, became desensitised.
This unit of work will look at a grade 7-8 class with overall objectives of the unit being to promote and test prior knowledge of cultural understanding, gain greater understanding of family origins and develop an appreciation of other cultures. It also looks at working on improving and developing research techniques and principles with links in accordance with the CARA's 7-8 Health and Physical Education curriculum. The following scenarios include both a good and bad representation of how this lesson could be taught within the classroom.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Mr. Johns.
How are we?
Oh yeah, not bad.
Right. Just get you guys to pass out. One of the sheets there. Just everyone pass it around. Alrighty. Okay.
What's this, Mr. Johns?
Chuck it there, mate. That'll be all right.
Mr. Johns, what's this?
Eh?
What is this?
Right. Well, this is a template of a blank game which we are going to create. I've printed this off for you guys, so that's what we're going to be working through for the next couple of lessons. Any questions? Yeah, that's very good. Alright then, guys, what we'll do is I'll make you a couple of rules that we're going to follow, which I think are going to be pretty good because I like making up rules. So, the first rule of the game will be, if you're not good, sit down. If you're not good, sit down. What other rules can we have, boys?
Do I need to write these down?
Well, if you like, yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Pettigrew.
Morning. How are you this morning, everyone? Good?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Alright, now today we'll get straight into it. We're looking at cultural understandings and cultural differences. I understand that probably most of you have probably got a parent or relative that come from somewhere that didn't originate from Australia, so they were born in a different country. Just right now, just in a quick group, just have a quick chat between you three, you four here. Have a chat and think if you've got one or two relatives that come from a different spot.
I think my auntie's from Germany. Yeah. I think I got like a great uncle from like England or something. Yeah, I think mine's from Denmark.
Alright guys, back this way, attention back this way. Did we come up with anything? Did we find something? Yes, Nathan?
Yep. So my auntie, she's from Germany.
Okay, good. Now we're going to look at this. This is a good example. Germany. So different kind of games they might play in Germany, different sports. Did anyone else come up with anything? Yes.
Yeah, I think my great uncle or something like that was from like England.
England, yeah. Do you know any games they play over in England?
I think cricket maybe.
Cricket, yeah, that's a good one. Nathan, did you have one?
No, I forgot.
So, what about, there's also polo they play over in England there. That might be something interesting to look into. That might be something we look at a bit later. Steve, did you come up with anything?
I think my great auntie's from Denmark.
Oh yes, and have you found or talked to your auntie about different sports they play over there?
I think she used to go watch the Danish long rolls.
Yeah, that's it. That's a very interesting one.
Back in the day.
Yes, Nathan.
My uncle calls it the Danish rounders.
Long rounders, yes, a very good one. That's another good one. So how can we use this to create a cultural understanding or further knowledge of other cultures?
Do you mean in regard to PE or?
Yes, absolutely, in a PE sense. So how can we use this in our PE class?
Oh,
Yes, Nathan.
what if we made a game or played a game that was maybe from a different culture? Or
That's a
something like
fantastic idea. Yes, let's run with that. Alright, so for this lesson, how about if you, as a group, come up with a game and present it back to me? You can choose however you like to do it. You might want to include some rules, some regulations, and maybe some equipment, but it's up to you and how you present it.
The following scenario looks at Lesson 2, which are the students' presentations. From here, Lessons 3 and 4 will be informally taken lessons of the students' presentations, which will have guidance from the teacher.
Alright, well, we chose to look at the sport polo, which is from the English background and that. So some rules that we found were that the game is played between two sides, and they have each 4 players on each side. And how the game starts is there's an umpire, so the 2 teams line up at each end, and then the umpire will throw the ball into the middle, and then that's how the game starts. To be able to score, you need to drive the ball into the opposition's goal at the opposite end. Some regulations we found is that player can hook an opponent's mallet.
Can push him off the line and bump him with his horse or steal the ball from him. The umpire's primary concerns are the right of way of the line of the ball. So the line of the ball is an imaginary line that is formed each time the ball is struck with the mallet. The line traces the ball's path and extends past the ball along the trajectory. The equipment you'll need for this game is a horse, but in our lesson we don't have access to a horse, so we might just use a stick between the legs.
Or like a hockey stick or something, or one of them soft polo sticks that we use in PE with Mr. Molnar.
Very good with Mr. Molnar. We also need a hockey stick, as Rowan said. Some goals set up, so we might just use the soccer goals and hit it through there. And riding equipment if we've got horses, so we don't.
And the ball obviously to play with.
Alright guys, how are you thinking about running this, and how are we going to include everyone?
Well, there's 3 of us, so we thought we could probably run a couple of games going at once. So one umpire, one do the other game. And with Sally, she's got a bit of a visual impairment, so we thought we could probably use those cricket balls with a bill in them.
Yep.
Maybe get her involved, or maybe just a carer, just to help her out, tell her where to go and all that.
That's a very good idea. Well done guys, thank you for your presentation.
When considering the content and aspects of the unit plan, we deemed it important to reflect a current Tasmanian cross-cultural classroom environment. Between 2011 and 2012, Tasmania received approximately 1,300 migrants. Of these 1,300, a quarter of these people were part of humanitarian programs. 55% were made up of Bhutanese people, whilst 14% from the Democratic Republic of Congo and 12% were Ethiopian. According to the DPAC, more than 58,000 or 11.6% of Tasmania's population were born overseas. This compares to the national average of 26.4%. The main countries in this percentile stem from England, New Zealand, Scotland, the Netherlands, Germany and China. Another 24% of Tasmanians have one or more parents who were born overseas. The top 5 countries in which these people migrated from in the past 10 years include the United Kingdom, the People's Republic of China, India, South Africa and the Philippines. Freire looked at the concept of banking education. This, he states, is the depositing of information from teachers to students. The teacher does the talking and the students do the listening and copy down information in a rote learning fashion. Within the way of learning, the teacher is the central focus as they choose the content and how it is presented. Freire and Freud's 1989 later argued that this type of education diminishes students' curiosity to learn
and their ability to critically analyse and have awareness of the world around them diminishes. This causes a fragmented view of reality and the way in which they perceive the world. This is done in order to domesticate learners and neutralise their own reality relative to that of the teacher's own interpretation of the curriculum. Through the lens of Active for Life, students are given the opportunity to facilitate their own research and understandings. This then can be transferred into lessons 3 and 4 as they now need to take responsibility for physical activity. Within our unit plan, we wanted to change these perceptions of the way teaching and learning is achieved. By creating a guiding task, students have free range to choose a cultural background that they wish to research. From here, they are given the opportunity to demonstrate how they will present their findings to the class. This is evidence and an attempt to shift the balance of power and control between the role of the student and the teacher. Dale and others support this notion by stating that the use of the banking framework discourages students to develop their rational and creative capabilities coherently. Instead, teachers should aim to create an environment in which learners begin to both conceptualise and construct their own patterns of learning and versions of realities independent of external influences. This notion is then able to break the stereotypes which banking theory bestows upon teachers and students, as previously mentioned, while also improving and facilitating Active for Life.